Amphibia ended a while ago, but I couldn't find an iceberg video on it, so as the frog savior, I decided to make one. Now this iceberg was stolen from Reddit user QuickChampionship16, and I personally knew most of these facts and definitely did not use Google to find them. So at the end of the video, tell me which layer or fact was the most surprising for you, and now let's get started with what an iceberg video even is. And if you didn't know, it's basically a trivia pyramid video about any particular topic. The deeper we go down, the less known the information is. So now that we know what that is, let's start off with the first layer. Amphibian pilot. The original title and pilot for Amphibia was known as Amphibian. It featured Anne writing in a diary about her first few months in Amphibian. It also contained different versions of characters such as Sprig, Sasha, and Marcy. Opening intro song. Welcome to Amphibia is the name of the main title theme. It was composed by Doug Betty and sung by Cecilia Westbrook. It's almost a minute long and gives us a fair idea of each setting that we see in Amphibia. Matt Braley. Matt is the creator of Amphibia. He created this show based on the adventures he had in Thailand as a child. Other Disney shows he's worked on include Gravity Falls, Big City Greens, Turbo, and even Steven Universe with Rebecca Sugar. The Plantars. The Plantars are the adoptive frog family of Anne Boonchoi. They currently consist of Hop Hop, Sprig, and Polly, and they have a long and proud history that traces back to Leaf, the frog who decided to steal a calamity box from Andreas as a child. BFF's photo. This is a picture of Anne, Sasha, and Marcy with the letters BFF written at the bottom, and it serves as a reminder of their friendship whenever it comes in doubt. The Calamity Box. The Calamity Box is a music box that allows anyone to travel to other dimensions with the use of the gems. The royal family of Amphibia has used this box to enslave other worlds through interdimensional travel for hundreds of years, and also to power the city of Newtopia. The Boonchoi. The Boonchois are the Thai American family that Anne belongs to. I say Thai American because even though Anne is from Thailand, she was born in America. They live in Los Angeles, California, and own a restaurant called Thai Goat. Warwood. Warwood is a town in Amphibia that was founded by Leaf 1,000 years before the show begins. It is shown to be not as technologically advanced as the other towns and cities in Amphibia, as most of the inhabitants, like the Plantars, use simple tools and equipment to farm and do other stuff. But all in all, the people have shown to be warm and lovely. SJMS. St. James Middle School, or SJMS, is the private middle school Anne, Sasha, and Marcy attend before being transported to Amphibia. Los Angeles. The main characters all live in LA, and it acts as the setting for all the events that take place when we go to the Earth throughout the show. Beta and design. This is basically the prototype version of Anne before the one we see in the show. In this version of her, she has blue hair filled with twigs and leaves and other foresty stuff. All flashbacks. Throughout the series, different characters have flashbacks to earlier points of their lives. Our trio have flashbacks to the lives they were living before Amphibia. Hop Hop has flashbacks to the night when Mr. and Mrs. Plantar were killed, and even Andreas has flashbacks to how he ascended onto the throne and totally betrayed his childhood friends. Grubhog Day. Grubhog Day is an annual holiday where everyone in Warwood takes time off work to celebrate this pig larva hybrid thing, which predicts their weather, and that's the Grubhog. Newtopia. Newtopia is the capital city of Amphibia. It is the affluent and technologically advanced metropolis that Andreas and his species ruled over for thousands of years. Number 301. 301 is a number that has many domestic meanings in the show. It is the door number of the Boonchoi residency, it's also the street they live on, and a reference to the production code for the episode New Normal, Spry Ann Against the World. This phrase from the last episode of the series shows the protective nature of the relationship between Sprig and Anne, as they promise to always protect one another from danger and remember each other. Theme song takeover. Disney Channel started airing the theme song takeovers, where supporting characters from other shows performed the theme song of the show that they were in. So, in Amphibia, this is done by Marcy, as she recounts the adventures she's been in to the beat we all know and love, Polly's Legs. Polly is a pollywog, that's basically a baby frog, whose legs finally grow out in the episode True Colors. Chibi Tiny Tales. This is a show on Disney Channel that follows the adventures of many Disney characters that we know and love as they engage with each other and do random stuff. They can't talk, they can't speak, and this is a show that has no continuity or any storyline or progression. It's just chibi characters getting into mischief and doing random stuff. Amphibia Shorts. This is the series of short videos that features characters doing mundane everyday things. The glowing eyes. The eyes of the girls basically glow whenever they trigger their calamity powers, with Anne's eyes turning blue, Sasha's turning red, and Marcy's turning green. Whenever this happens, you know stuff's about to get real. King Andreas. King Andreas is the king and main antagonist of Amphibia. He is a giant newt who pretends to be good to the girls when they arrive, but ends up betraying them in order to get the calamity box and use it to invade Earth. Red Blue Moon. The Blue Moon is the lunar body that orbits Amphibia. But for hundreds of years, the Corps has been using it as a place for experiments. It changes color from blue to red when the Corps takes over it to use it as a weapon to destroy Amphibia. Stargate Quantum Leap Easter egg. These Easter eggs are shown in the same episode as Polly suggests 2 DVD tapes called Starsgates, which is a parody of the 1994 film Stargate, and Quantum Hop, which is also a parody of the show Quantum Leap. The temples. The temples are specific locations in Amphibia that serve as a test of people on the gems and hold information about the calamity box. Each temple is dedicated to a specific gem and has certain devices to charge it if you complete it. Marcy Clumsy. Marcy is shown to be pretty clumsy and forgettable, and her cloak catches on fire multiple times throughout the series. She falls on her face too, a lot. She's so clumsy that Sasha has to say that her clumsiness will kill her one day. Amphibia Alphabet. The Amphibian alphabet, also known as runes, is the alphabet that the citizens of Amphibia, mostly in Utopia, use to read and write alongside English. Their language is basically like normal English, just that they use a different symbol for each letter. Dr. P. Dr. P is a character that is never shown in the series, but his name is seen on the cover of the book that tells Marcy about the Calamity Box and the gems. So it's safe to say that he might have had some prior knowledge on interdimensional travel and the Calamity Box. Spider Sprig. Spider Sprig is the superhero persona Sprig takes on to fight crime and keep peace in LA. It is obviously an allusion to a certain web-slinging friendly neighborhood hero we all know and love. Valeriana. Valeriana is a newt who collected artifacts over her many travels for thousands of years. Due to this, she has amassed a wild amount of knowledge on a lot of things, and she is also the creator of the Calamity Box. Name was here. This is a running gag in the show where a character just writes their name on a surface and was here. We're about to kick it into next gear. So, I'm handing it over to TzuNamii for him to take us through the next few layers. Take it away, bro.
Throughout the series, there were a few scenes that were cut, possibly due to time constraints. In episode 1, there was a fully animated scene with Polly at the end of the episode.
Hop, Pop, and Sprig might be soft, but I'm not convinced about you.
Okay, creepy stuff.
In episode Handy Ann, there was a scene where one of the vegetable monsters ate a crow.
Ooh, that looks personal.
In the episode Ann vs. Wild, there's a flashback that showed a young Ann and her dad on a camping trip. In the episode The New Normal, there's a scene with Sprig and Polly where they were wearing big glasses with a big nose and mustache. Hop Pop was wearing makeup, and all 3 of the planters was wearing a Jason mask. There's also supposed to be a joke scene when Ann is watching the finale of Suspicion Island 2, and one of the characters that looks similar to Marcy gets stabbed. Her dad comes in and complains how contrived the show feels. No Big Deal is a song performed by Marcy and Sasha's garage band, Sasha and the Sharps. The song first premiered on the episode Battle of the Bands. In this episode, Mayor Toadstool hosts a music competition so the citizens of Wartwood can relieve some stress since they've been on the edge after the arrival of Sasha and Grime. A remix version of No Big Deal was used in season 3's trailer. 1,000 years ago, King Aldred uses the music box to travel to other worlds in order to conquer them, and his next target was Earth. When Leaf touches the music box, she has a vision of Amphibia's terrible future if King Aldred continues to use the box's powers to mess up the ecosystem of the multiverse. Later on, she decides to steal the box in order to protect Amphibia. She uses the box's powers to teleport to Earth and to hide it there to prevent her vision from becoming a reality. Later on, she helped found Wartwood and will later start the Planter family after marrying the farmer. In the early 1800s, Pollyanna Planter was born. And then in 1951, Amphibia Planter will be born. Fast forward to 2006 in California, Anne, Sasha, and Marcy are now born. And 3 years later in 2009, Sprig is born in Wartwood. In 2010, Anne and Marcy met Sasha at a playground. And also Anne adopts a stray cat and names her Domino. In 2014, Polly is born. Somewhere between 2014 through 2017, Sprig and Polly's parents were killed by herons in Wartwood while Hop Pop was on a journey. Sprig and Polly are now orphans, and Hop Pop is now taking care of them. In 2019, Anne, Sasha, and Marcy move up to the 7th grade. Now it's Anne's birthday. Marcy sees a book in the library about a magic music box. Later on, she learns that she'll have to move to another state because her dad has a new job, and she'll have to say goodbye to her friends. This causes her to run away from home. Later on, she finds the same box that she's seen in the book at the thrift store. She sends the picture of the box to Sasha as the perfect gift for Anne. Sasha convinced Anne to sneak out of school so they could do something fun. Anne steals the box from the thrift store. Later on, the girls are at the playground and Anne decides to open the box, and all 3 of them are teleported to Amphibia. Anne ended up in Wartwood with the Planters. Sasha was in the Toad Tower where she was captured by Grime and his Toad army, and Marcy ended up in Newtopia where she met King Andreas. The Tide Temple appears in the episode Temple Frogs. The Tide Temple is based on the What Temple that's located in Los Angeles. In the episode Temple Frogs, at the end of the episode, Anne tells Hop Pop and the others that they lost their disguises, and well, this happens.
Pancake.
Guys, your disguises, they've fallen off.
The quarantine song is played when Anne and the Planters are trying to find ways to entertain themselves while being quarantined at Anne's house. The song was played in the episode The New Normal. Also, please do not microwave any books. The mind-controlling mushroom is a rare species of mushroom that is able to attach itself to the skull of its host and controls them. The mind-control host grows mushrooms in their head. They also have glowing purple eyes and are in a zombie-like state. The Skip Man is a CD player that appears in the episode Wax Museum. The Skip Man is a parody of the Discman. The Amphibia and Owl House crossover is a panel that took place online during the San Diego Comic-Con on July 24th in 2001. The crossover was a voice-only table read where a script of a crossover episode between Amphibia and the Owl House was read. The crossover takes place during the 2nd season of the Owl House and during the 1st season of Amphibia. Amphibia has appeared in other Disney Channel shows as either a reference or some sort of Easter egg. In the Owl House, one of Willow's books has a picture of Hop Pop on it. There's a plush of Sprig in Hunter's room. The music box can be seen on the shelf in the episode Knock Knock Knocking on Hootie's Door. An article about a girl lost in a frog land with a picture of Anne in the headlines appears in the episode King's Tide. In Big City Greens, a Sprig plushie can be seen in the Claw Machine arcade. In the Ghost of Molly McGee Chibi Tiny Tales, Scratch tries to scare Anne and Sprig. During Anne's fight with Andreas, Anne tells him that she pities him. An angry Andreas charges in and knocks her down to the ground. Anne's parents tells Mr. X to play one of Anne's favorite songs in order to pep her up. The song that was played is called As If It Was Your Last by the K-pop band Blackpink. On May 2nd, 2021, the final episode of Season 2, titled True Colors, was leaked on iTunes. An angry Matt Braley tweeted about how this was the worst week for his career, and he urged the Amphibia fans not to watch the leaked episode. The episode was pulled from iTunes an hour later. Sprig is one of the main characters in the series. In his early concept, Sprig was originally named Weed. He was also originally voiced by Thor Van Orman, the creator and voice of Flapjack. The Amphibia Sprite game was created by Mr. Alt Account 1000. The game is a platformer that was inspired by the Mega Man franchise. The Planter's family hunting dance was developed by Leaf and used by the Planter family for hunting and distracting their prey in order to lure them in. Marcy's journal is one of the items she brought from Earth. Marcy uses her journal to take notes on Amphibia and all its surroundings. A real-life adaptation of Marcy's journal called Marcy's Journal: A Guide to Amphibia will be published by Tokyopop on November 15, 2022. Barrow is a minor character in Amphibia. He was an old friend of King Andreas and Leaf. Barrow was killed trying to defend a village from a narwhal worm. Throughout the series, there is a running gag that foreshadowed Hop Pop's death, but it was just a joke to fool the viewers. The mystery pot first premiered in the episode Fight at the Museum. While at the museum, Anne and the Planters discover a pot with a picture of a frog in the music box. Dr. Jen, who's a curator at the museum, helps Anne with researching the mystery pot so Anne could get some rest. At the end of the episode, Dr. Jen shines a black light over the pot, revealing a hidden message that's written in Utopian. The message translates to, "Seek the Mother of Ohms. She will guide you to your destiny." Leaf is an old friend of King Andreas and Barrow, as well as the head gardener of Newtopia, but after having a terrible vision about the future of Amphibia, she stole the music box and hid it on Earth. Afterwards, she decided to start a new life. She changed her name to Lily Planter, helped found the town of Wartwood, and married a native farmer, and she is the ancestor to the Planter family. In the episode Quarrelers Pass, Anne and the Planters are on their way to Newtopia. Anne and Hop Pop get sick of Polly and Sprig's bickering and decided they should temporarily split up at Quarrelers Pass because their fighting is driving them crazy, and they'll meet back up at the end of the path. Now that Sprig and Polly are not around, it's nothing but awkward silence around Anne and Hop Pop. In order to break the silence, Hop Pop asks Anne does she have a boyfriend back home.
So do you have a boyfriend back home? Ow!
Anne hits Hop Pop because the question made her feel uncomfortable.
Darcy. Darcy is the abomination created when Marcy gets wounded and the core proceeds to upload its essence into her consciousness. The core. The core is the being created from the collection of all the greatest minds in Amphibians for hundreds of years. It plays an advisory role to the royal family of Amphibia, Black Licorice. Anne is shown to have a fear of black licorice in the episode Night Drivers. The Guardian. The Guardian is basically the god who watches over all dimensions and all worlds in Amphibia. It's also the one who makes the gems to see what mortals would do with unlimited power. The Prophecy. The Prophecy was made by Mother Ohms. It depicts the choice of the girls to use their powers to save Amphibia from the core. Marcy gets stabbed. In the episode True Colors, Marcy gets stabbed clean through her chest by King Andreas. We meet again storyboard. I actually did a lot of research and could not find a definitive thing for this one, so if anybody knows what it is, please put it down in the comments. Mother Ohms. Mother Ohm is an elderly Ohm. She is an Ohm that holds a lot of information on the Calamity Box and its properties. Before the events of Amphibia, she gives her prophecy of 3 warriors coming to save the people of Amphibia from danger. She also guides Anne to making the final decision of making a wish to the gems so that she could save Amphibia and her friends from the core. Who am I? I also could not come with anything conclusive for this one, so again, tell me in the comments if you know what it is. Pineapple. Anne shows the Plantars how to make pizza, and when Sprig suggests putting pineapple on it like a normal person, Anne shuts the idea down immediately. I don't know why, because as everybody knows, pineapple belongs on pizza. Unlimited power. This is the nod to the fact that the gems basically hold unlimited power, and throughout the series, they have been used to do some pretty incredible things, such as allowing Sasha, Marcy, and Anne to go Super Saiyan, and even powering a portal for interdimensional travel. Sprig and Polly's parents. Mr. and Mrs. Planter are mentioned many times in the show, but they never appear. This is because they passed away during a heron attack on Wartwood long before the show started, losing arms. It was highly speculated early in the show that Anne would end up losing her arm or hand by fans, but judging by how the show ended, this theory was obviously debunked. Sasha toxic. Sasha is shown to be a very toxic person. Her personality consisted of heavy manipulation and peer pressure. because of the way she treated Marcy and Anne in the beginning of the show. And it takes going to Amphibia for Anne and Sasha, and even Marcy, to realize how crappy Sasha's behavior to them was, and for her to correct it. Original Anne dead and becomes Anne clone. There's a theory that suggests that Anne died, and that the current Anne that we see is a clone. This is because in the last episode of the series, Anne passes away from using the true power of the gems. So, the Guardian essentially takes her essence and puts it into a clone at the exact moment that she passes on. Hannah Ayubi. Hannah was a storyboard artist who fell in a bit of controversy for a risque picture that she posted of Sasha and Grime. It is heavily speculated that she was fired from the show because of that, but nothing conclusive came out of it, so we just take it as it is. Screen Fiend. The Screen Fiend is a non-canon made-up villain that appears in Anne's Halloween story, Phone Mo. It is a being that uses his cute and cuddly form to trap unsuspecting users in their phones for all eternity, kind of like TikToks. Non-canon. This is Amphibia content that has not been confirmed as being part of the Amphibia continuity, but is still shown on the show, such as Anna, Broder, and Twig from the episode Shut In, and the Amphibia Outhouse crossover reading. The Heron. Herons are murderous giant birds that act as predators to the people of Amphibia. They attack in pairs and are responsible for many deaths across the land, including that of Mr. and Mrs. Plantar, before the show begins. If you have made it this far into the video, thank you so much. I'm guessing you might have enjoyed it, so please leave a like. If you haven't enjoyed it too, leave a dislike. If you did not enjoy it and want to say something about it, give me a comment. If you enjoyed it way more than you probably should have, give me a subscribe. Marcy's dead. Marcy apparently kicks the bucket in the episode True Colors. She is then revived and has her body taken by the core, but I guess she's now alive, after getting stabbed in the chest, getting her body taken over by a prehistoric hive mind. Yeah, alive, right? True form. This is the true form of Domino, the creator of the gems. His true form cannot be comprehended by mortals, as it would make their minds go crazy, just as he says and he tries to do to Anne. Shipping wars. This has to do with so many people in the fandom fighting over who deserves to be in a relationship. And in my very honest opinion, I think it's very dumb to be fighting over fictional relationships that have not even been confirmed by the show. Marcy's betrayal. When the trio lands in Amphibia and they get split up and go to different locations, it takes a while for them to meet up. But once everyone gets back together, it is then revealed about how they actually got into Amphibia. And it was through the music box that Marcy got because her parents were going to force her to move away from her friends, which she did not want to. Hardest thing. The hardest thing is the last episode of Amphibia, and hence it acts as the epilogue. As in the last portion of the episode, it gives us a definitive end to where Anne, Marcy, and Sasha end up when they grow up. Marcy becomes a promising webcomic author, Sasha becomes a successful children's psychologist, and we have Anne, who becomes a herpetologist at the Aquarium of the Pacific, giving us a befitting send-off to the trio we've come to know and love. Also bringing us to the end of this iceberg, and I know it's left with a few on this chart, but I did a lot of research, but I cannot come up with a definitive conclusion for any of them. So if you do have an idea on them, please tell me in the comments down below and educate all of us. So this brings us to the end of the iceberg, and this is actually my first iceberg video. So if you did enjoy it, let me know in the comments. If you do want to see me cover any other animated iceberg, tell me and send me a link to it on my Twitter, which will be linked below too. Thank you again so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Tune out.